Holy smokes, what a massive day for us. Now, we knew this was coming. I had a feeling this was definitely coming based on the oral arguments, but didn't know when and didn't know how decisive it would be. But we didn't get a 5-4 decision, folks. We got the 6-3, which means Roberts and Barrett jumped on over, which, after the tariffs decision, they got to build some trust back with MAGA if they're going to rug pull us at some other point. So they decided to do it here. Now, I got to tell you right now, I would actually rather have had them do it here, like stay with us here, than the tariffs, because Trump can get around the tariffs. There's other ways to do that, which they're working on. There's no getting around this. This is a nuclear bomb to the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party in the South has completely, and I mean completely, rigged several elections because of this act. They have redistricted into these states the craziest lines you've ever seen just to make it so that the races, blacks, Hispanics, you name it, have representation. But what does that really mean? It means anti-democratic, because they carve it out in such a way that you're basically guaranteed to get a Democrat. It's wild. And this has been going on for 60 years, which means the Republican Party has been going into the midterms with a handicap for 60 years. That handicap differs depending on the era, but right now that handicap was between 12 and 24 seats. That's a huge handicap. It is now gone. Gone forever. There's not going to be any fixing this. The only question is, how fast do we gain those seats? How many states determine they can redistrict now before the midterms? All the ones that haven't done their primaries can do it. The ones that have done their primaries probably could if they really wanted to push it. There might be legal challenges. They might have difficulty, but there's plenty that could push it now. All of them will have it done by 2028. So what was already looking favorable for us for 28 based on demographics is looking better now. With this combined with 2030, oh man, with the switch in the census, this is the kind of thing I've been telling you guys. This is how the Democrats stay out of power for anywhere from the next 12 to 20 years, because this is what just happened, gives the advantage to the Republicans every single year now. Every single year it's ours to lose the House for the foreseeable future. This is even before a Save America Act is passed. This is even before all the deportations are complete and the new census is completed. We already have an advantage. Now imagine what happens once the new census happens. Illegals are not counted. More states lose people because of moving and because of lack of illegals. And my friends, we're looking at 30, 40 seats pickup in 28 and 30. It's possible. It's absolutely possible altogether. This is massive. Trump wrote it out today. Today, 6-3 Supreme Court decision in the case is a big win for equal protection on the law as it returns the Voting Rights Act to its original intent, which was to protect against intentional racial discrimination. Hilarious that they used it to actually use racial discrimination for their seats. Thank you for Samuel Alito for authorizing this important act. Now, an opinion. This is the next one is the mail-in ballots. If they determine that election day is election day and you can't count afterwards, guys, even without the Save America Act, we have a massive advantage going into this election. So the midterms just got a whole lot closer, And again, midterms are not the end of the world. I've explained it 100 times on this show. Maybe I'll talk about it again at the end here, but we do want to win them. And now it's much more difficult for. Remember, I showed you guys last night. It's essentially tied according to the latest poll. Tied, and now we got this. We're already picking up a guaranteed one more seat from this because of Louisiana, but we could pick up anywhere from 10 to 14 more depending on what the states decide to do before. Now, here's Clarence Thomas talking about it, and let me just play this clip real quick.
I would go further and hold that Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act does not regulate districting at all. The dissenters, Justices Kagan, Sotomayor, and Jackson, warn they fear Section 2 is essentially, quote, a dead letter following today's decision. The consequences are likely to be far-reaching and grave.
I love that. The liberal justices are freaking out. The consequences are likely to be far-reaching and grave. It's absolutely hilarious. They know what just happened. They know this is such a big deal. Here's Alito talking about
Supreme Court. We've been waiting months for this decision, okay?
Every week.
Yes, there was a question before the court as to whether or not a state law in Louisiana intentionally created a second majority-minority congressional district in violation of the 14th or 15th Amendment, specifically what...
Good morning. Okay, so this at first blush here is a win for the plaintiffs who were not black plaintiffs. They were non-minority voters who challenged this decision. These two districts that were minority majority, essentially Louisiana had drawn up districts and then they were told in a legal battle that they had not represented black and minority voters sufficiently. They went back and drew a second district.
How ridiculous that is? How ridiculous! Like, we've lived under this tyranny of this ridiculous law in our elections for 60 years. Okay, it's absolutely ridiculous. We've had to put up with this. What she just said is crazy. So Louisiana, through democratic process, which the Democrats are like, oh man, they're killing democracy. Through democratic process, they remade the state. They redistricted the state. And then they were told, oh, there's not enough representation of minorities. Do you understand how insane that is? Minorities are a part of this country, but they're a minority. And so you pick a side and the ideas win. We are meant to be a colorblind society. I know that's not technically fully ever possible, but we can at least mostly get there. We can mostly get there. And we were there for a while. We were very close through the 80s, through the early 2000s. We were very close. And then Obama was like, racism, 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 and brought it all back. I've already showed the charts a couple of nights ago on that and proved it. But the point being that it's about integration. We should all be integrating to be Americans, and then we can debate ideas. There should be this idea of representation by race or gender is insane. It's stupid. It's anti-American. We are supposed to be an ideas-based society. Every good republic with a democratic element should be. That's the only way you make progress. And so, but that's how they lived. We lived under this for 60 years. And man, I heard some good ones today. Jim Clyburn out of South Carolina might be redistricted out because of this. That, my friend, that just warmed my heart. That just made me so happy to see Jim Clyburn could be gone. The Black Caucus was like, which is all Democrats, by the way, was like, our numbers might significantly dwindle. Oh, okay. So sad for you. This is what they had to do to pull it off. Look at this. This is two districts. You see how crazy it had to get to fulfill this law? It's insanity. In a basically red state. So what they're saying is with the redraw, probably the New Orleans district stays blue and everything else will be red, which we net one. But this is this is what they do, man. They don't care. They don't care about democracy. They care about power. That's exactly what it is. And, you know, if we care about power, which we should, which we haven't for long enough, because we would fall into this trap of believing that, like, if we just leave everybody alone, they'll leave us alone. No, if you leave them alone, they'll just come and take everything from you. That's what we've learned. And thank God Trump finally broke us out of that stupor. But the whole libertarian idea is a fallacy. It never works. You have to, even if you don't like power, even if you don't desire power, you have to get power at some point to get the way you want it and then turn it over. And it's, it's just like in Gladiator, which I love the quote, but Maximus, would you take this great honor I'm bestowing upon you? With all my heart. No, Caesar. That is why, Maximus, it must be you. It must be you. Well, that's what we need. The people who don't want power taking up the responsibility of power in order to stay safe, because otherwise we give this nonsense just to stay in power. They are shameless. And the only thing we can do is punch back, which we did. And so now, according to the New York Times, which they're on the conservative side. I've seen it up to 24 seats. Potential mouth of the South without the VRA restrictions. Current map, 65 to 24. It could go up to 77 to 12. This is what the South should look like. Plausible scenario, and I would even say highly likely scenario. Look at all that. That blue's going bye-bye, folks. Because you did it. You did it through cheating, and now you finally got caught. And so this aligns perfectly with President Trump's effort to make elections secure again. He set the stage on birthright citizenship, dismantle vote fraud, and clean the census. Pass the Save America Act. We can maintain national control for a long time. I'll go so far even to say this, guys. Everybody is freaking out about the next few elections, okay? And I get it. I totally do. It is terrifying to think of Democrats back in power, especially now because they are Looney Tunes. They will go even farther now that Trump has pushed them. I don't deny that. However, there are a lot of factors we must take into account here. Trump this time is not playing games. He has cleansed the federal government. It's not 100%, but it's very close. He has it because oversight. So where it's not cleansed, they still are watching carefully. This is a very hands-on administration, and he trusts, from what I can tell, pretty much all of his cabinet, which is a huge difference from the last term, first term. So take that into account. Now, the Voting Rights Act is struck down. The illegals are being deported. Trump will not be counting them in the next census, okay, which we have to win to have the census in 2030. But even without that census, people will have moved. That bumps up the electoral college. Also, it bumps up the House again. The Voting Rights Act, as I said. Now, you have less illegals. They're purging the voter rolls right now. North Carolina just got 35,000 purged. Oregon got something like 800,000 purged. So the voter rolls are being purged, which means they have to reset those. They don't have as many illegals to stand in line. The mail-in balloting, which can be counted after Election Day, is most likely going to be struck down soon. So cheating for the Democrats, they already lost the last election when they were in power. And this is, I don't hear anybody talking about this, and I don't understand why. They were in power in the last election, and we still won, even though they cheated. They tried. We overwhelmed them. Now we have Trump in power. We have a lot more in our favor. I do believe one way or the other, Trump's going to enforce a safer election in the midterms, a more fair election, whether it's maybe he's sending ICE agents to the polls. I don't know. Maybe they're monitoring the polls for illegal aliens. I don't know how he's going to do it, but something's going to happen even without the Save America Act. On top of that, because of the Supreme Court and because of the deportations, you already have things tightened up. So let's say right now, if the midterms were held today, it's 20 to 30% harder to cheat. They get rid of just because of the oversight and the Voter Rights Act. Then you have and the deportations. That's the stuff that's already happened. Now say they pass the election day where they can't count the mail-in ballots that come in after. Well, now it just got 10% harder to cheat. So going into this midterms, it's 30 to 40% harder to cheat already. In 2 more years, it'll be even harder for them to cheat. So if they sneak out 2026, they will get nothing passed. They will investigate Trump. They will impeach him. It won't go to it'll go to trial. He won't get convicted because the Senate will hold the Senate. I guarantee you we're going to hold the Senate. They're going to, but if they get the House, no laws are going to pass because it has to also pass the Senate and Trump has to sign it. He could veto anything that gets through the Senate. That's not happening. So we don't have to worry about new legislation. So all they're going to do is make things noisy and annoying for 2 years. We have people out there who are like, oh, the midterms are going to be the end of the world. No, they will not. That is stupid. Trump is still the president. He still runs the justice system and all of our foreign policy. It's retarded to think the midterms are the end-all, be-all of life. 2024 was the end-all, be-all. The midterms will hurt. I'm not saying it's not good. We have to go all out at the midterms and try to beat them. I'm not saying chill out. I'm not saying be complacent. That's retarded. No, we should all vote like we've never voted before. We should do that for every election, though. We need to send a message, and we should. But I'm telling you right now, even if we lose the midterms, we will win 2028. We will. And then once we win 2028, this is locked in. Because then the census is in 2030. The realignment happens. Listen, we don't want to lose the midterms, but it's not the end of the world. But having said that, it's still really important, and you guys should go for it. But guys, there's a lot of dooming that the midterms will be the end of everything. They just won't. Do not believe that. The House by itself does not have nearly the amount of power people act like it does. All right. So, all right, let's keep moving on. All right. Christine says, we're heading towards a future where something like this becomes a narrow GOP majority in Congress looks like in 10 years. So, I think the numbers are wrong there, but she wants us to see this. Look at how red the U.S. is. That's with all the demographic shifts and the Voting Rights Act changes. That's a oh, I got it all screwed up on here. Sorry, guys. That is wild. All right. Over here, Marsha Blackburn already proposing a 9 Republican, 0 Democrat redistricting map for Tennessee. Blackburn, I urge our state legislature to reconvene to redistrict another Republican seat in Memphis. It's essential to cement President Trump's agenda and the golden age of America. Amen. Let's hope that this keeps spreading. Now, the Democrats are freaking out about this. Let's listen to CNN for a little bit, because if you want to know what a big deal this is, listen to your enemies. So they all know. They all know. Listen to this.
It could have an impact on the midterms and beyond here, Jeff.
There's no doubt about it. And early voting, to Joan's point, does begin on Saturday in Louisiana. This Saturday, the overseas ballots have already been shipped out. So that explains the timing here. And I think it's important to look at this in a couple different ways, the short-term effect and the long-term effect. And Joan is absolutely right. There is no doubt in years beyond, this is going to majorly change representation largely across the South and elsewhere. Likely opening the door for more Republican seats, certainly in southern states. But even before we get to that, in Florida, as the opinion was being read, as Justice Kagan was reading her dissent from the bench and as Justice Alito was reading his majority opinion, the Florida House of Representatives at that very hour passed the new Florida maps. Now they have to go to the Florida State Senate. But this ruling likely makes legal challenges to the Florida action much more difficult. And just to remind our viewers, Florida, of course, is redrawing some of its maps to give Republicans 4 more seats. That comes after Democrats in Virginia had a statewide referendum that would likely give Democrats 4 more seats. It's really the culmination of a year-long gerrymandering war. But this ruling is going to change in 2028 and in years beyond, making it more difficult to challenge the drawing of this map. but again, unclear about the actual effects in the midterm elections because some states have already had their primaries. Candidate filing deadlines have already passed. So it's possible that some states will call a special session of a legislature and try and change maps or postpone elections like Louisiana. We will see. We have to see how that plays out. But I think the bigger impact of this is in the years to come. And
yeah, he's absolutely right. Again, by 2028, they'll all be locked in. So you see, so the AG Marshall from Alabama already responding to the SCOTUS VRA ruling. Will act as quickly as possible to apply this ruling to our redistricting efforts, ensure our congressional maps reflect the will of the people, not a racial quota system the Constitution forbids. So we already have states moving forward to do this. The hope is we get as many moved before the midterms. We want at least, I'm hoping for at least 10. Thanks to Florida today, we already got 4 more. So good job, DeSantis. Right here, they passed the House and the Senate, so now it's going to DeSantis' desk. We'll get 4 more seats. Yeah, excuse me. 4 more seats. And then if you also factor in the fact that Virginia might be struck down, it's looking pretty good. So everybody's freaking out about this. Again, if you're wondering whether this was a win, look at the enemy. And Alex Soros is out here freaking out. Today's ruling gutted a key part and erased decades of protection. Roe showed us what happens when our rights rest on judicial goodwill. It's not a right when the Supreme Court gives it to you. The rights are only from the Constitution, but whatever. This is how they play the game. So Soros freaking out, which every time a Soros is upset, we're winning. Hakeem Jeffries just absolutely losing it on the floor here. Listen to him.
Toward a more perfect union. And now we're at a point where affirmative action is gone, diversity is gone, equity gone, inclusion gone, racial tolerance gone, the Voting Rights Act largely gone. But guess what, extremists? We're still here. That's right. And we're not.
This is music to my ears. Diversity gone, equity gone, inclusion gone. I mean, I can listen to them say this all day. I might turn it into a rap song.
And now we're at a point where affirmative action is
Affirmative
gone.
action gone.
Diversity is gone.
Diversity gone.
Equity gone.
Inclusion
gone. Racial tolerance gone.
Who's still dooming? My God, folks, this is insane. Like, we are winning so hard. They are freaking out. They can't control themselves. They never thought this day would come. They've been hiding behind this for decades. They just never thought this could happen. And it makes me so stinking happy. I love watching them cry. They thought they just had it all in the bag. And this stuff would never be messed with. This has some estimates show imminently lose up to 19 seats. Now that, my friends, is asking a lot imminently before the midterms, but there are some analysts saying it's possible. Chucky Schumer, he's so mad. Dems just launched our election fraud task force. Listen to this. The most aggressive and coordinated election protection effort in history. With top election law experts will identify threats, fight voter suppression experts, defend the right to vote ahead of the midterms. Can I translate this for you guys? They are putting together a task force to try and figure out how the heck do we rig this one? How are we going to fix this one? Guys, we are losing. We need a task force. We really, really need some ideas. They have just butchered our future if we don't figure this out. That's what this is code word for. Because if you guys anybody believes for a second the Democrats actually care about election fraud, well, I just put up for sale another property, oceanfront, Arizona. It's there. And I'm willing to take top price for it. Jeffrey is saying they're rigging the elections, the midterms, because the Supreme Court struck it down. They have to cheat to win. I mean, this stuff is so rich. I love it. I love it so much. Just give me more liberal tears. Makes me so happy.